we all have egos. Much as you want to run from it, as much as you want to try to hide it, minimize it, shorten it, whatever you want to do, just know your ego is not going anywhere anytime soon. It's literally a part of almost, if not everything that you think about and that you do. Friendships are no different. Every single type of friendship, whether it be a toxic friendship, a great friendship, an online friendship, a friendship with benefits, a professional friendship, or an associate or relationship, whatever the case may be, ego is going to take a part in all of that. And if you're not aware of that, and if you don't know what's going on, it can make a lot of those friendships a lot more difficult than they need to be, which is where me getting an idea from my friend to talk about this comes in handy, because I'm now going back over my life and some of my friendships, and I'll share those, not in all detail, but just a little bit. And I will also go over ego, again, not with a doctorate level of degree, but just some general knowledge and concepts. And with those two things, we'll be able to see pretty much how ego can affect friendships. The best place to start is, well, with what ego is. And honestly, ego is just one of the parts of your personality that deals with like self and I. So when you use your ego, it really just represents your conscious decision making process, or like what you are actively thinking about when you make a choice. The ego kind of helps us sort out reality, and it's a balance between our id, which is our unconscious thoughts, desires, feelings, and actions, and our superego, which is the things that we think about and like the way that we think about the world, but we don't necessarily act on that all the time. I covered this in an earlier video on my channel, but friends versus associates. How close are you two? Just trust me, take a second, think about how close are you as friends? Like, are you guys really on that deep level? Or are they just an associate that you're putting in the friend category? How much time do you spend with them? Do you guys talk for like 5 minutes every 2 weeks? Do you guys talk when there's only something involved for one of the people? Or do you guys have a conversation like almost every day? Is it hours and hours and hours? Is it something that's really stimulating? You know what I mean? These are things to really consider. Are these even people that you want to call your friends? If you are in public, or if you are just by yourself and you have a weird sense of feeling when you call this person your friend, guess what? They're not your friend. When a friend does something disrespectful, let me be the first to tell you, it makes you rethink everything. But first, you gotta think, what is disrespect? What do you personally count as disrespect? And how do you know when something is disrespectful versus when something is just somebody's opinion or their advice and you're taking it disrespectfully? Should you confront them? Do you let it go? Do you talk to them about it? Do you talk to other people about it but not them? These are all things you have to consider. Or these are all things you have to check back and figure out what's the reason. Is this the first time they've done something like this? Or is this kind of like an ongoing thing and you just let it go? Or you just kind of said, oh, this is what they do, and move on? Have they acted like this in the beginning? Or have they changed somewhere along the line? Now, the really important question is, are you ready to lose this friend indefinitely if you have to confront them and they're like, I'm not going to change, or you're taking this too seriously, and then the friendship dies? If you're willing to handle that for confronting this issue, then I don't see an issue in, I guess, well, confronting it. You never want to ask the question, who is putting in effort? Because if you get to that point, I'm sorry to tell you, it's probably not you, or you are the one putting in the most effort. Because if you are asking that question, that means you're taking the time to consider it. So, which one of you guys is trying? If the ratio was off, if it's 60-40, 70-30, 80-20, change the numbers however you want. If it's not 50-50, there's going to be a loss of mutual energy, meaning that somebody's going to feel slighted, they're going to feel disrespected, they're going to feel like they're wasting their time or they're trying too hard, and the friendship's not going to be as healthy as if you both just put in the same amount of effort. So if somebody's putting in 20, you can put in 25 or 15. I'm going to give you a range of 5%. You don't want to go too over, you don't want to go too under, if you care. Is there an equal amount of effort? That kind of goes into what I was just talking about. But now, getting out of the ratio, how much like actual, like, let's say you guys are both making plans, right? That's good. That's not an effort. Are you guys actively trying to have conversations that are deeper than, just, hey, how are you doing? Or is one person just going like, hey, every 2 weeks, and the other person's like trying to hit you up every day? That's not the same amount of effort. Do you guys hang out online? Do you guys hang out in real life? Because if it isn't in real life, 9 times out of 10, it's not gonna go to that level yet, and that's okay. You just don't want to put it on that level. You see what I'm saying? If you guys make plans, do you cancel often, or do you not cancel often? And if you do cancel, well, what's the reason? And kind of one little thing I want to get into before we continue: does it feel like they're not engaging in the conversations that you guys have? So going back to what I was saying, if we're talking and a lot of people are just going, hey, how you doing, or what's up, or you're responding with one-word answers and responses, nah, you're not engaging. You might want them to. You might try your hardest to try to keep the conversation going, but it's not moving like that. And I'm sorry to be the one to tell you, but I'd rather save you now than both of you looking stupid. If you have not established clear boundaries between you two, trust me, that's when a lot of problems come through, because how do you both know what's disrespectful if you guys haven't established those, ground rules? You know what I mean? What is considered a joke? One thing I might say about something, it might deeply offend you and might hurt you to your core. It might be said in a way you don't like, and vice versa. The way you might joke and talk to people in a, humorous manner might not be so funny. But if we haven't talked about it, or we haven't, communicated what we don't like, then it's just going to be weird eggshell tension between the two of us that none of us are really ready to talk about. Are there consequences for certain actions? I don't know what certain actions you would have between the two of you. This could fall for any sort of relationship, but if you do something, is there a reaction, either positive or negative? Because there is a such thing as positive consequence, I do believe. Then what is that? Like, what's the result? Like, if you block somebody, are they gonna try to talk to you more? If you don't respond to them for like 3 hours, is that gonna get them to want to respond? If you give them a cookie, is that gonna make them want to talk to you a little bit more? I don't know. You can change the reasons and examples to fit your situation, but the point is, if you guys do certain things, is there a reaction, and is the reaction something that you're looking for? Because if it's not, then you need to talk about it, or you need to cut the relationship off, because it's only going to get worse from here. This plays on the last few points I've been talking about, but how do you treat each other? Is there mutual respect between the two? That means if you guys are talking, do you guys both respect each other, or at least acknowledge each other and value each other in the same level? Because if somebody in the, let's say, friendship thinks they're way better, way smarter than you, then they don't respect you. And vice versa, if somebody thinks that they're not worth your time, or you're not worth their time, then they also don't respect you. Do you guys argue and complain? That is the main thing I have to ask. When you guys talk, do you both sit there and argue about everything, cannot agree on anything, and have to disagree on everything? Because if you do that, then I'm not gonna lie, it's not the best friendship out there. I'm sorry, it's not really a friendship, it's a ego contest, which I guess for this video is sort of fitting, but you still don't want to do that, because you're gonna get drained, and you're gonna get very, 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 very exhausted. And if there are jokes made where the other person is the punchline, for example, if you're playing, let's say, Call of Duty, and most of the jokes are, oh, look at how friend A sucks at Call of Duty all the time. Okay, that's funny maybe once, twice, maybe, but if that's done over and over and over again and over again, then at some point you gotta stand up for yourself and be like, hey, maybe this isn't funny, or can we not say this all the time? And I'm not gonna sit here and act like I haven't been in that situation. I've been in that situation a lot of times, too many times to count, in fact. And it is difficult, but the more that they keep saying jokes like that, you're just going to let it sit there, and you're just gonna start thinking about that more and more. And do they take your feelings into account when you say something or make a decision? You know what I mean? Do you guys actually, I guess, have a conversation about it? Or is it just like, I'm doing this, bye, I don't care? Or, oh, you did this, all right, cool, we're gone. You see how that didn't sound very genuine, very sincere, very inviting? It sounded very cold and commanding. Yeah, not fun. I know I said this about 3 different times in this video, but that's how important this is. Do you value or respect the friendship yourself? Do you personally think of this person as a friend? Do you think of this person as a friend? I'm saying it again because I want you to really think about it with nobody else asking you, nobody else prompting you the question, nobody else is trying to sit here and force you to make a decision. Because you could watch this video and be like, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about, my friendship is fine. And that's okay. It could be true, it could be false, but it's your choice to make. But I want you to make sure that you understand that you need to make this decision for yourself. When other people say, hey, that's your friend, or yo, that's your friend, you know what I mean? You need to be confident in that response of yes, or vice versa, you need to be confident in that response of no. And if their response is no, well then you already know what you got to do, and there's no reason to ask me. With this friend in question that we're talking about in this video, just obviously hypothetically speaking, do you guys have mutual friends? And if you do have mutual friends, how do you guys feel about each other? And if it's just you and this other person, how'd you guys meet? How'd you start off? You know, was it positive? Was it negative? Did one of you guys have a group and then they introduced you into this new friend group, so they were the first one and now you're the new addition? Or is it the other way around? And in this particular group, who really holds the power? We all know subconsciously that there's a friend that we all respect and value as like the top friend. We have, you know, an order, and then that order goes down to the last person on the list. In your group, who is in each slot, you know? And if we're also just on the topic of talking about groups, how does each one of the friends in this group, how do they rank and respect you on an individual level? Like if it was just you and them, nobody else around, how would the interaction go? And then actually another even better question is, would there even be an interaction with these 2 people, I guess you and this other person, if there was no other friends around? You guys only hang out when there's other people, or do you guys hang out on your own separately? And in this group, if there's drama or beef or whatever you want to call it today, are you the reason? Are you the start? Is this other person usually the source? Do people talk about you behind your back, or do they talk to you directly about it? And if they do, how do they address it? You know, is it going to be a lot of shade? Is it going to be a lot of subtweets or subliminal posts on social media, or is it going to be a lot of just dirty and really shitty jokes, or is it going to be, you know, a direct conversation? Is it going to be very aggressive? Is it going to be on the spot, or 3 months from now? You know, all of these things play a factor in how does the group dynamic play a part on your friendship. And if it's a really big part, that's a little tricky. I'm not going to be the one to sit here and try to give you an answer right now, but if you do have to worry about the group more than the individual, 9 times out of 10, this is a group friend and not a solo friend, you know? You already know what I gotta say. Thank you for making it this far, because you didn't have to, but you chose to. As I was going to say in the beginning of this video, this is a new style of video. I'm trying to blend 2 things together, so let me know in the comments if this works for you and if it doesn't. But even without all of that, I hope that this video gave you a new, I'm gonna say, perspective, or maybe expanded your horizons on how to look at friendships or just any type of ship, period. Mainly because it's an everyday decision, right? You need to evaluate every day, every hour, every second, every minute, if you want to continue this relationship or not. And it's not always easy, and sometimes you might flip decisions. One day you might be like, oh yeah, I want to keep this going. The next hour you're like, nope, I don't want to keep this going. And then 3 minutes from now you're like, oh, I want to keep it going. So it can always switch, but that's not necessarily a good thing or a bad thing. It really depends on the situation in question. But now, if you weren't aware, you have some more tools, some more things to think about. And if you were already aware, you can kind of, I guess, reaffirm what you already knew, I guess. But with that being said, this is the end of the video. As I just said, let me know how everything goes. I will be having a different sort of thing. Also, I have a new lamp system, so I'll be using that a little bit more. As you can see, it's like a LED multicolored one, so just expect a little bit more sauce now. So check out my streams. I'm going to try to be streaming at least once every week, hopefully twice every week. I'm going to try to make those Monday and Friday, so just be on the lookout for that. I'll put the link to everything in the description below. And with that being said, I will catch you on the next one. So, I'm trying to figure out which color I had it on. I had a purple, right? No, I had it on this. Okay. Peace out.